What's up, y'all? How are you? It's Riter Radio. This whole thing is a countdown, really. I did not realize. First of all, the Sabres won again, so that's 15 of 17, and obviously worthy of attention. It was alumni night. Everyone was here. We almost ventured to Hamburg in the middle of the afternoon in we'll call it a snowstorm, but it was, roads weren't great. It wasn't a snowstorm. They should have had school yesterday. They do have school today. I don't know if anyone got canceled, but I care about me and my life first. And I didn't have time to check and see if Barker Central is closed today. I did that yesterday. Everyone was closed because it snowed a little bit in Buffalo. But we're back to normal. So I don't start the show angry and distressed about society, the wussification of society and all that. We don't have to do any of that today because the kids went to school for a day. But think of my son, Zach. My son was homesick for 2 days, went to school Wednesday, school canceled Thursday. There was a threat of it being canceled today because there was still some snow last night. Woke up and it's fine, so that's good. And then off Monday for Martin Luther King Day. Had multiple concerts canceled last night, multiple basketball practices canceled. The only strength in Western New York is being shown by a 9U baseball team that was able to practice yesterday just fine. They all got there, and I got my new sweatshirt. Look at this thing. Isn't this nice? Look at that. Southline Shamrocks. Cool. Hoodie. It's nice being on a team where everything is just cool. The coaches are cool, and all the families are cool, and everybody's good. And there's all this fundraising, but then they do something with the fundraising, and they gave the kids all these sweatshirts, and then offered parents the opportunity to buy them. I did not go with my name on the back of it. The kids have their name and their number. The reason I didn't, one, I don't want to walk around with my name on my back. It's bad enough that my name is on my face, kind of, to a certain extent. People, I get recognized, not a lot. Not like celebrity status, but hey, you look familiar. Do I know you from somewhere? I get that. Quite a bit, and I don't need to put my name on my back. Also, I've got 2 kids, and they both play for the same organization, so this sweatshirt applies to both of them, but they have different numbers. Drew's 99 because he's a hot shot. Nate's 20 because he's regular. And I don't like the thing where people, you see it if you're in travel sports or if you're watching the Mannings play football on television when they were both active. You see like the split jersey, or you'll see like Riter and it would have 20 and 99 on the back. Nobody wears. I don't like it. So I got the plain hoodie, but I like it. I like the vibe. I just got it last night, and I'm feeling good. I like the colors. It's fun. It's explosive. I've got that drip. You know that word? Yeah. Funny, it looks exactly the same outside right now as it did yesterday. Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true. I've got a little chat problem in that, for whatever reason, the software that I use to do the broadcast, there's a window that I open up just for the chat, and it sits there, and that way I don't have to have another screen occupied by the YouTube feed to see the chat. And for whatever reason today, it's not functioning there. So if I don't respond to the chat, I know that I'm not like right on top of it because I'm doing a show, and then I go, oh yeah, the chat, and I look at it, but it's going to be a little slower on the chat. Right now I can see whatever's at the very bottom because I got the way it's set up. Like there's a window open. Maybe I could shrink this one and make that better. What if I close? Oh, I've got an idea. I can make this work. If I just get rid of that box, it will uncover the box underneath. Oh yeah, there we go. Good. I don't need the box. Now I got the whole thing because the chat is super active already today. And I appreciate you guys doing that. It makes me feel so much less like I'm talking into the void, and more like people find the show. People are listening without, reaching out, without participating. People are watching. People are downloading it afterwards. People are finding it on Spotify, finding it on YouTube, all that stuff. Watching the short videos that are being put out. All that stuff is happening. But the reality is that it's me sitting in my house, in my basement, and if I'm not, if I don't see activity, it feels like maybe it's not working. Like maybe it's not on. The more that you guys participate, the more I realize, okay, this is good. And it gives me energy. It gives me a little boost. So thank you. Okay, what was my point? New hoodie. Not going to wear the double number thing. I don't know. It's just I enjoy. First of all, it's a compliment that we got in a baseball practice last night. When the world was afraid, the world. My son called me out on that. I said the world. He's like, California? I'm like, no, Drew, I don't mean California. Our world, Western New York, our little tiny community. When it's all shut down because of the cowardice of schools, it just feels it's a yuck day. But there was life yesterday with a baseball practice from 7 until 9. So I felt good about that, and I feel good about my new hoodie here. Although it feels like there are too many colors. When I've got my UB colors behind me, I thought of putting the UB flag at half-mast, but they're okay. It's former players. As the show progressed yesterday, we discovered the breaking story nationally about a widespread college basketball betting scandal that remarkably coincides with the availability of online gaming in, well, I'll say New York State, but over the course of the past few years, we've gotten to where many, many states are allowing it, and what a surprise. Suddenly, basketball players are on the take, and it's existed forever. But the sort of ubiquity of gambling apps, I mean, it wasn't going to lead in a different direction than people trying to fix things. And I will say this, the accusations against 2 named and 1 unnamed former UB player, and I checked, and there might be 2 players still on the roster from 2 years ago, and I wonder if one of them is, there's got to be a reason that 2 are named and 1 is not named. I don't know. Scott Wilson will be on. He cares about this too. But anyway, I thought of flying the flag at half-mast, but I also looked into it, and it's not a program scandal. It's you had bad eggs. You had corruptible eggs. I don't even know if they're bad people. I don't know what I would do. If I'm a college basketball player on a team that's, frankly, they won 4 games that year. If I'm on a team that's not any good, and somebody's like, hey, would you like $30,000 to make sure you turn the ball over a couple times in the first half of the game? Here's what I appreciate about the scandal, because Bob Gaughan's the right guy to talk about this, because we've been talking for 25 years about if you were trying to fix a sport, fix a game, how would you do it? Like, who would you attack? And we talked about officials. We've talked about special teams like football. You can get the long snapper on your side. 2 bad long snaps, you can affect the outcome of the game, probably. Kicker, obviously. You can't go after the quarterback. You can't try to buy a quarterback. I don't think. I mean, you can. But if you're thinking about the most efficient way to do it, the best way to get away with it, I think the most palatable thing, if I'm a player and I'm corruptible, I have low morals, I care about winning, I care about my teammates, I want success. But if you're going to approach me, like, hey, I need you to tank because I want to win a bet, telling me to help preserve the first half score, lose by X in the first half. The other team's favored by 3.5. Just don't be within 4 at halftime. I'd listen if I'm corruptible. I'm just saying if I'm that guy, I'd listen, because you're telling me, okay, and then in the second half, I can come out and make up for the mistakes and we can go try to win the game. Yeah. I just need you to not be within 3 points at halftime. All right, how much is that going to cost? Or how much is that going to make me? I could see how it would happen. So good job by finding that sort of loophole that allows for a little bit of morality for the players. I'm not condoning the scandal at all. I'm certainly not condoning players at UB actively contributing to a 4-win season in George Halkovich's first year here with the Bulls. We were so excited when he came in. Just rave reviews from everyone involved. Anyone around Villanova that knew him, like, yeah, you're getting the guy. I've got one connection at Nova, and I immediately reached out to him. He's like, yeah, he's the man. He's awesome. You're going to love him. And then I met him, and I loved him. And then they won 4 games, and then they won 9 games. I was like, oh, no. And I haven't been around him much since then. He wouldn't know me at this point. I've just met him a handful of times. And then this year, they come out of the gates, and you know what? There's a part of me that's like, oh, okay, cool. They weren't trying that year. Maybe this guy's okay after all. because it's tough to be real enthusiastic when you hire a new coach and you win 13 games in 2 seasons combined. And then they come out, they tear it up out of the box this year. And it's been the strongest season in a while for the Bulls. So the scandal looms, but I think kind of not really. So while I considered dropping my UB flag behind me to half-mast today, but I don't think it's necessary. I think we're fine. Coffee. I'm not a huge coffee guy. My favorite kind of coffee, my number one coffee, this is not a sponsorship, but I will say it. My number one coffee-related, if you're like a pure coffee person, you're going to think this is stupid. But my favorite coffee product is the iced coffee that's in the machine at your finer 7-Eleven stores. They have a mocha one. They have a French vanilla one. They had like a butter cookie one that I haven't tried yet. But once every 2 weeks, I get an urge for a massive iced coffee. And I'll go to 7-Eleven and get it. In fact, having the app once in a while pops up, you're like, hey, you get a free beverage this month. And I'll go in and it's my choice. I get the extra large. It'd probably be like a $6 thing. And I get it for free. But usually I'll get like the large and it'll be like $3. And it's good. It's chemically. I know that. I know it's not good for me. I know it's not coffee. But I've never understood hot beverages. Like if I'm thirsty, I want to be able to drink it. And like my wife, she almost every night will make something, whether it's some sort of coffee thing, but it's usually like a powdery Maxwell House French vanilla cappuccino or whatever. I don't know. She does those things. She'll do tea. But then she drinks it, and this is, I'm not knocking her, but like if I want something to drink, it's because I'm thirsty. It's not something to do. I guess beer is something to do. But that's not what I mean. If it's too hot to drink, I don't want it. So I've never understood the people that I need my coffee. Like, you need a little bit. Like, this is how she'll do this thing, and then she'll sit and watch Grey's Anatomy like this. It seems so unfulfilling to me. So my number one favorite coffee is 7-Eleven cold iced giant chemically awesomeness. My second favorite kind of coffee is old. What's old coffee, you might ask? Old coffee is that my wife drinks coffee, like makes a pot of coffee regularly. My oldest son does that too, but nobody ever drinks a full pot of coffee. And then before they go to make a pot of coffee, if there's some left in there, they will dump the coffee into, I don't have one of those glass, but we have these plastic like tumbler cup. They'll just dump it in there and it'll be sitting on the counter. And that's for me. I get to drink the leftover coffee from yesterday. I don't remember the last time anybody made a pot of coffee in my house. And today I was like, I bet there's some coffee in that coffee pot. You know, you go to Tim Hortons and they write the time on the thing so you know you're always getting something fresh. This should have had the date on it. I don't know how long ago it was made, but I had coffee today. I woke up wanting coffee. And so it's room temperature coffee that was made probably Monday. And I take that and I put it on ice and I'll use some sort of flavored creamer and I make myself a fun little cold wake-up morning beverage. The creamer we have is pumpkin spice. It's January. And also and we also have, there must have been like a clearance situation where my wife's like, fine, we're drinking pumpkin in December and January. Because there was also cold foam, which is just whipped cream, I think. But that was pumpkin spice too. All this sounds fine, aside from it being a little jarring to taste pumpkin-y things in January. It doesn't seem right. The problem, however, is does your ice maker ever work? Because we've got an ice maker. The fridge is not that old. Fridge-freezer combo thing with the ice maker. But it just freezes up. And every couple weeks, you go to get ice, and it's just... and nothing happens. And then you open it up, and you look in there, and it's all just... It looks like You're on Hoth. The mechanism is all gunked up by just a hunk of ice that's stuck there and nothing new is coming out and there's nothing in the bin. So the thing just spins and grinds and nothing happens. So while you, as a potential coffee lover, may have enjoyed your favorite hot or even cold beverage today, what I had was 4-day-old coffee with pumpkin spice cream or creamer and pumpkin spice, the tail end of a pumpkin spice cold foam, which is just, it's like a whipped cream can, except like every whipped cream can I've tried to use in this house since we've been here, since we moved here in 2019. Which, all right, let's see. Zach was born in 12, so he was 7. Whipped cream, if he sees whipped cream, when we're not looking, he just eats the whipped cream out of the can. So every time you go to use whipped cream, it doesn't work. There's nothing left. You think you're all set. It's not there. Well, apparently he does the same with cold cream because all I got was just kind of drooling out. So it was like 4-day-old coffee with some months-old creamer. That stuff is good forever, though, because it's not cream. I don't know what it is, but it's chemicals. And then nothing. And then all I had was enough to fill up this little Bills cup. So that's what I had today. See, go Bills. But I'm jacked on old coffee today, and I'm jacked on the fact that the Sabres won their 15th of 17, and I just found out they're playing tomorrow. And I assume it'll be an MSG game, which means I won't get it, or I have to come up with some unique way to watch it, or I have to find a place to go. But what a day for like bars and restaurants tomorrow. This is it's the perfect formula for if I was 23 years old, 20, even 28 years. If I was single, I would be at a bar at noon getting ready for a 12:30 hockey game, followed by a 4:30 Bills playoff game. And then that would be carry me home after that, or, Uber, or, call a friend, something like that. But what a day. What a tremendous opportunity this is. And I noticed this, my buddy Sean Shearer owns Union Pub and Transit Music Lounge. And I was on Facebook today, and I saw a post from Transit with their breakfast menu. They're opening up at, I'm going to screw it up. I'm going to say 11, but it might be noon. And that is a day, man. The Sabres on this streak. I looked last night, unless something happened super late. I don't know what Tampa was doing, but Sabres are 5 points out of the conference lead now. And 15 wins in 17 games will do that for you. And they're lighting it up, too. They won 10 in a row, then they lost in Columbus. Then they won 3 in a row, dropped one to Florida maybe, and now they've won 2 in a row. In their last 5 games, their last 5 wins, there's the Florida, I think it's Florida, loss mixed in. Every game has been either 5-2 or 5-3. Those are real wins. It's not, hey, we won at 4-3 in a shootout or 2-1 in a shootout. They're lighting it up. Tage Thompson, hat trick last night. And 2 assists also, so he's in on all 5 goals. That's one of those cases where you need your best players to be your best players, and that's your best player, and he's acting like it. That's cool. Rasmus Dahlin, a pair of goals. I think a pair of power play goals the night before. So something's going on in downtown Buffalo. And what a weekend, or what a day, really, to celebrate all things Buffalo sports. Somebody posted the number of hours, so I'll do my own math on it. 24 hours from now, it'll be 10:30. So we're 26 hours away from just sports mania. It's a home game tomorrow for the Sabres, and obviously a road game for the Bills, which allows people to go to the Sabres game. Like, that's a full day. Tomorrow's a day to go to a Sabres game. That sounds awesome. In part because I don't know if you're the same as me. Bills game day, I'm essentially pacing until game time. And that's not necessarily physically like walking around, but there's a little bit of that. But I'm looking for something to do, always. Like, it'll be noon and kickoff is at 1. And I'll be like, I'm going to return cans and bottles right now. Or this usually works. Say to my wife, hey, do you have any returns that need to be made? Because there's always something that's like, oh, yeah, I've had this for 28 days, and I've got 2 more days to return it. So, can you do that? So I look for errands to run leading up to kickoff because I just, like, nervous energy, there's nothing I can do about it. So I just need something. And popping in a Sabres game, which for years now has not been interesting at all, but is suddenly super interesting considering the tear that they've been on. That's just perfect. And then seeing the thing that really tripped this in my head was seeing the post from Transit Music Lounge about their breakfast menu because they're open all day because it's just a great sports day in Buffalo. It could be a disaster. Obviously, the football season could end. And if you believe the predictions of the experts, it's going to. I just can't see it. Just put Josh Allen's face on a page next to Bo Nix's face and tell me the Broncos have got this. I can't do it. I know the Bills are banged up. I know they lost 3 receivers for the season within the last calendar week. I know. I think you can run on that team. I think they're far less impressive than their record looks. I don't think they're an especially strong running team. The Bills have been very good in the secondary, despite injuries popping in and out. Poyer's out now. Poyer wasn't even here to start the season, but it looks like Hamlin might be able to come back. I feel okay. I feel really okay about this team. If I'm them, I would not enjoy the part where they don't have air in Denver. But teams go in there and can win. And there's an advantage, for sure, to the altitude thing. I say for sure as if I've ever experienced it. Like I've ever tried to sprint in Denver. I've never been to Colorado. What the hell do I know? But just looking at these two teams, I feel absolutely fine about this matchup. And I feel okay about the next one, too, regardless of outcome. I fear the Patriots very little. I fear Houston a little more because of, what they've done to the Bills the last couple times they've played them. But again, the matchup seems to favor the veteran team that's been through this whole process. Is there a more forgettable playoff game in Bills history than 31-7 over this same Bo Nix-led Denver Broncos team last year? Like, as caught up as we are in everything that has happened with this team since Josh Allen arrived, I had to look up the score. I'm like, I think we played them last year. And then I looked it up, and I remember they wore stupid uniforms. The second you walk into a playoff game wearing a uniform I don't recognize, I lose some respect for you. I mean, just you look at any picture or video from that game, you're like, oh, that team's going to lose. Who's that? Is that the CFL team? Is that some college team? If you're the Broncos, show up looking like the Broncos. If you're the Bills, show up looking like the Bills. None of this, silver snow globe uniform, or whatever that crap was earlier this season. None of that. Wear blue, wear white. I don't even mind the red, and I know that might fly in the face of what I'm saying, show up looking like the Bills, but red is a prominent color with the Bills. I own a red Bills sweatshirt. Like, I'm okay. That looks like the Bills to me. But the Broncos showed up looking like a, FCS team, and played like one. They lost 31-7. So I'm entering the weekend with very little fear. I have enough respect. You have to respect that they're the 1 seed and they won that many games, but the number of times they've had to come back against crap teams. And I know the Bills have done some of the same stuff. You're trying like, what's going on here at halftime? Like, it doesn't feel right. And then they just come out and launch into you and beat you. Maybe if you're a Broncos fan and you watch them the way that I watch the Bills, maybe you feel the same way about Buffalo, in reverse. But I'm just here to say I don't have a ton of fear going into tomorrow. I feared Jacksonville last week, not even because of the team, just because of the history. They just give me ick vibes, in part because of 2 playoff losses, specifically the one after the 96 season when the one that proved to be Jim Kelly's last game. So there was that, but I don't know. As the week has gone on, I've felt better about the injury report. I could bring it up and go through the whole thing as I've been doing. Every time it comes through, I read it out loud to my wife. I'm like, all right, here we go. Here's who's out. Here's who's questionable. Here's who didn't practice. Here's who was limited. I would like to know how the limited designation comes out of a walkthrough. It's like the Bills walked through and so was a limited participant. What does that mean? Does that mean they're in a wheelchair and rolled through? Like they ran the plays but didn't use their legs. I don't know what limited in walkthrough means. It's a question for, I don't know who that's a question for. Chris Brown? Maybe Chris Brown could answer it. I don't know. Maybe one of you know. And you could put it in the chat. That'd be fine. All right. It's Riter Radio. It's episode 244. We continue to prepare for Brain Vault, which is our live trivia adventure happening starting the 27th. It's a Tuesday night event. Doors at 5:30, show at 7. We're done at 9. So even though it's a school night, you can do it. You don't even have to drink when you're there. You just come out and hang out. You can sit there and just enjoy. And you can participate, and maybe you'll wind up on stage. There are going to be a lot more details coming out next week as we're getting closer. But I've got guests lined up. There's a full panel. It's not just Brad on stage for 2 hours. Nobody wants that. It's me plus the adventure of the crowd, individuals from the crowd being invited up on stage to answer trivia questions under the lights with the pressure of a panel facing you and perhaps mocking your lack of knowledge or praising you for your brilliance. There's a stand-up comedy aspect that will be involved. There's an intermission built in. There's a lot of stuff. There's music. There's lighting. There are screens. There are 7 cameras. It's a whole thing. And I'd like you to attend. TheCazBuffalo.com is where you go for that. We've got a sponsor locked in for it, Buffalo Trim. They're the ones that are going to make me look pretty. Because this ain't cutting it. This is no good for stage. I am intentionally letting my hair get stupider. It's worse than it's ever been. I never let it get this long. I have a big head, and when my hair gets puffy on the sides, it drives me crazy. I don't spend a lot of time looking at myself in the mirror, although I do now spend a lot of time looking at myself on camera because of this show that we're doing. But I just walk by, and I see a glimpse of like hair puffy beyond my ears. I'm like, ugh. But I'm intentionally letting that go. And also this, like, I don't know if you could tell how awful this is, but it's terrible. And that's why when I'm editing the video of the show, I see myself constantly like playing. I hate it. I want it gone. But we're not going to make it gone. We're just going to make it less white and tighter and neater. And it'll make me look more like the AI version of myself that you'll find on the banner ad for Brain Vault. Because that is a real picture of me that I said, turn into a headshot, dress me better, because I had on probably a UB jacket and a T-shirt, and then they turned it into a blazer and a button-down shirt, and then it kind of tightened up my face. It cleaned up my beard a little bit, made my hair kind of different. It's a cool kind of look, but it's clearly almost Brad. It's AB. AI AB. Artificially intelligent, almost Brad. And it's fun, but that's not really what I look like. But I'm going to try to make me, Buffalo Trim, make me look like that. Them is Buffalo Trim. Them is Buffalo Trim. Them, the word them in this particular case represents Buffalo Trim. 6 area locations on board for sponsorship with, they're their grooming sponsor. The primary grooming sponsor. Brad looks this goddamn good. Not this good. This is what I look like by myself. When I look good, it will be because of Buffalo Trim hooking me up. I'm going there, a week from today. That day, the only song I'll play is "Cut Your Hair" by Pavement. But they're gonna hook me up. But look at how bad this is. I mean, I'm gonna come close to the camera. I don't do this often. Women and children, please turn your heads. You're gonna view this like I view Grey's Anatomy. Last night, I tried to sit in the room facing away from the TV while Grey's Anatomy was on, but I get grossed out by medical stuff. I had to leave the room based just on the words they were saying. So, I don't know, if you can survive Grey's Anatomy, maybe you can survive this close-up you're about to get. But you gotta see how stupid my face looks. Check this out. See how hairy and stupid? And gray? And awful. Buffalo Trim's going to fix that. I know you couldn't hear that super well because the microphone was not on my face, but they're going to fix that, and I'm looking forward to the assist from them. All right, what do I have here? Oh, I'm writing on yesterday's show sheet. I didn't even realize this. I just started adding. So this is all yesterday stuff. No, not all of it. All right, we did this yesterday. Did this yesterday. David Lee Roth sucks. Talked about him. Did I say the Sean McVay thing? I don't think I did. I think I learned about this after the show. Sean McVay is getting set to coach his team in Chicago. He, I believe, got hired the same week that Sean McDermott did. So he's been around for a bit. This will be the 15th playoff game in which he has coached. And it will be the 15th different opponent that he will face, which seems insane. But it's true. Let me bring this up because I think it's so cool. Like, there's nothing you can do with it. Like, all you can say is, "Oh, that's cool." Sean McVay. I typed in Peyton. Look at that. Broncos are on my mind. Sean McVay. I'm looking at Sean McVay, trying to type Sean McVay, and Peyton comes out. Maybe they are in my head. Sean McVay playoff opponents. There we go. It's a popular search right now. McVay will have faced nearly half the NFL in his playoff career after Sunday. Sunday against the Bears will be his 15th career postseason game with the Rams, yet he's never faced the same team twice. The Bears will be the 15th team he's coached against. The only two NFC teams he's yet to coach against in the playoffs are the Commanders and Giants. And he has faced two AFC teams because they've been to the Super Bowl twice, winning one of them, losing to the Pats, beating the Bengals. So the entire NFC, minus Rams, because he's on the Rams, minus Commanders, minus Giants, and then add in Patriots, Bengals. That's crazy. I mean, there's nothing else to say. He's 9-5 in the playoffs, including this past Saturday's win over the Panthers. 3-0 against the NFC West, 3-1 against the NFC South, 1-1 against the NFC East, 1-2 against the NFC North, and then 1-1 against the AFC. I know the Bills aren't playing the Rams yet. I think my son Nate picked Bills-Rams for the Super Bowl, so that's probably true. He got 5 out of how many games were there last weekend? 1, 2, 3. There's 6 games. He got 1 wrong, so that's pretty good. Scores were not like trying to parlay them. That didn't work. Taking all of the things he said, assuming that all the scores would be right, and then betting it failed miserably. That's all right. All right, let's go through this chat a little bit, and then we'll take a break, and then Scott will be here. It's 10:50 already. There's a lot of chat going. All right, 31 and a half hours to go. That's obviously a countdown to the football game. There's also a hockey game in between. That's why my number was lower. A lot of hello, good morning stuff. Got to get down on Friday. That's a good point. We will. I made the mistake of not getting down on Friday once, and my whole weekend was ruined. I could see that. Who's this? Darn. Didn't bet the hat trick. As soon as the ceremony started, I said to my brother, this would be a great game to bet the hat trick, and then proceeded to not do that thing. I didn't see much of the hockey game last night. I saw, I saw intermission between the second and third period. That's all I actually saw when I was picking up my son from baseball. But all the old Sabres were out there. The 05-06 Sabres were out there on the ice. It was kind of cool. I said we will eventually get down on Friday, probably right before Scott joins us at 11. He gets down on both Mondays and Fridays, which is tough to do at his age. Nick says, I like all Friday songs. Good morning, happy Friday. No abundance of caution. No, not today. Apparently not. It's funny because it looks exactly the same outside as it did yesterday. That's right. Hey, it's Enrico Palazzo. Not sure. I mean, I know what that is. It's a Naked Gun reference, but why that fit right there, not positive. It's okay. UB is cursed. We're not cursed. Let's see. I do the same thing with my coffee, Brad. You got it figured out. Pumpkin spice is foul. Love a maple cold foam, solid flavoring to go with coffee. Maybe I need a fresh can of cold foam, or I don't know how they do it if you go to a fancy coffee place, but to me, it's just a can of whipped cream that has been abused by my children and drools out of the thing. So it's just put a milky mess at the top, and I mean, you kind of taste it, but if I'm doing pumpkin spice with pumpkin spice, not because I chose it, because that's what's in the fridge, it just seems useless to me, the cold foam. Never heard of maple cold foam. We have one of those countertop ice makers in addition to the one in the fridge. Use the external one for beverages and the fridge ice for everything else. Is my son doing whippets? I don't think he's doing whippets. I think he just likes, it's sugar. He's doing sugar. I'm not going to say he doesn't know about whippets, but I will say he does know about sugar. He's been a sugar fiend for as long as he's been alive. There was a day, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks ago, where out of nowhere, my wife decided to just make a cherry pie. And by make a cherry pie, I mean purchase a Sara Lee cherry pie and then just throw it in the oven so there would be dessert. And it was cooking and getting itself ready for consumption while we were eating dinner. And it was going to be like from the time I was done eating dinner to the time the pie would be ready to consume, it was like 15 minutes, let's say. So I walked away, probably came down here to do something, probably editing something or whatever, some sort of show prep thing. And then I knew that 15 minutes later I was going to go back upstairs for pie. I went back upstairs for pie. There was one slice of pie left. One. It was for me. But there are 5 people in this family. No one, other than maybe me, is going to eat 2 slices of pie. Except Zach, who ate all the pie. Wife had 1. Little guy had 1. Middle guy had 1. There was 1 left for me. Zach had 4 pieces of pie, half a pie. In the 12 minutes I was gone. Came back up. I'm like, oh, okay. And he's gone already. He's already up playing guitar, flying high on pie and whipped cream. So that's the kind of kid we got. He's not doing whippets. He just is eating canned sugar. Is that called canned? It's not canned. What would that be? Compressed sugar. Weaponized sugar. Pneumatic sugar. What's the term for a spray can? There's got to be a more scientific term. All right, let's see. Term for spray can of whipped cream. There's a word I'm missing. What do you call squirty cream? We call it whipped cream, the squirt kind. Aerosol. That's the word I was looking for. Or simply canned whipped cream. So I was fine. In Scotland, they call it scooshy cream. Bet you didn't know that. I certainly didn't. What do you call squirty cream? Reddit is fun. It's a subreddit called Ask an American. What do you call squirty cream? Do I want to open this whole thing? Yeah, I want to talk about squirty cream. I understand that in the USA, as in the UK, it's possible to buy whipped cream in a can propelled by some type of gas, usually nitrous oxide. In the UK, we call it squirty cream. This is not just a slang term. It's used in the name of various product listings. What do you call this? How is it differentiated from ordinary whipped cream? And are there any other fun slang terms I should know about? Scotland calls it scooshy cream. Squirty cream sounds like a porn genre. We call it whipped cream, no matter if it's homemade, it comes in a can or comes in a tub. Speak for yourself. You know how British people love to bring up how funny fanny pack sounds to them? Americans have the same reaction to squirty cream. I get what you mean, but I wouldn't say that in public or in front of my parents. All right, this isn't super interesting aside from squirty cream. Squirty cream's funny. I promised we'd get down on Friday. I don't know what has happened to the show that we get that request on a regular basis now, but I'm cool with it. I like having you guys around. We already played the Friday Joe Jackson song, but when you talk about Friday, that's not what you mean. I know that. I'll be right back. Scott Wilson's going to join me. It's Riter Radio. It's episode 245. The Bills play tomorrow against Denver. UB's involved in a point-shaving scandal. I'm sure that'll come up with Scott. A lot of football. National championship game is Monday. And Scott's always got a bunch of stuff. So stick around. Scott Wilson joins me in just a moment as we continue with episode 245 of Riter Radio. We shall get down on Friday. Let's do that. Here's Scott Wilson. What's up, man? Big weekend.
What's up?
Big weekend. Big weekend. Fired up.
It is a big weekend. It's a very big weekend. It's divisional weekend.
Divisional weekend, and you get to lead into that. The pregame show for the first NFL playoff game, which happens to have the Bills in it, is a 12:30 Sabres game. They've won 15 out of 17. They're 5 points out of first place in the conference. I don't know what the hell's going on around here, but I think I'm going to have to try to find a way to watch a hockey game tomorrow because I need something to do. I know you're like psycho football guy, and when you're waiting for a game, do you find yourself just pacing? Because I don't know what to do with myself. I'm going to wake up tomorrow. The first thing I'm going to think of is football playoffs. I'll think of that before I think of like what day is it or what else do I have going on or what's my name. Like before that will be the first waking thought I have, and then I'll be like, I've got 9 hours to kill before that game. So hockey might fill a void for me.
Well, it's a good thing. It's a good way to keep your mind off of things. I'm a big, I know for me, like you said, for football, like the years where there's a Summer Olympics, it really is, I really enjoy it because it allows me to like kind of pay attention to something else and makes the time go faster.
Right.
So
yeah, you're talking about killing months.
Thing,
I'm just talking about killing hours here.
Right. Right. No, but it's the same principle.
Yeah.
It's the same principle.
Yeah.
And, with the Sabres, I was thinking about this earlier. I figured they would come up because they just keep winning. But I saw the numbers, and it's at what point do I feel safe to love again? I don't know what it's going to take to get me back to a point to believe that this is real. That this latest stint in rehab was the one that did it, and now we're past rock bottom. Kevin Adams getting fired apparently was like, they must have hated that guy.
The streak was already started before he left, but it just continued, and they've lost twice since he was replaced. And I was going to bring this up next. Like, can you picture him? Like, if you're him and you get fired, like, that things haven't gone well. But there's got to be a part of it where, like, you go home to your wife and you're like, this is BS, man. What are they going to do without me? Like, and then you tune in and you see what's happening now that you're gone. You're like, oh, no, maybe I was the problem. I mean, it's not like a bunch of moves have been made since he left, but there's just no, in his own mind, there's got to be no way to defend what happened on his watch as he's watching them just win constantly since he's been out of the building.
I think that there's something to be said for a change in attitude and a change of approach in professional franchises like that. I know for me, I feel very differently about the New York Giants now. They've got a real guy. It's being taken seriously. And I think maybe at a certain point, Kevin Adams loses the ability to be looked at as a serious thing because of his track record. And then seeing that somebody like that has consequences and the new guy comes in and in his first meeting is like, I don't need any of you here. So, you can either keep playing or end up on an AHL roster. I don't care. But this thing's got to get fixed. And it doesn't seem like there was a lot of that type of attitude around before Yarmo here. So, again, it's got to be frustrating for him thinking, this was the same team. Nothing has changed. This was my team. What the hell? There's something to be said for, if you're losing, then you got to go. I think of all the stuff, Brady being most important, but the Patriot way was set very early on with Belichick by saying, if you're not on board and pulling the rope in the same direction as everybody else, the way we want you to, I don't care who you are, you're going to go. And it set a very clear line that went through the entire 20 years of their dynasty. And there's a bit of that now that has returned to the team that I think, and rightfully so, wasn't there.
Yep.
That the consequences weren't there, and now they are. and it's changed the entire approach and how I view. As a fan, I still don't know if it's safe to go. Like, can I get back into this again?
Well, for me, I'm not trying to
Or
get
what?
back. All I'm trying to do is, like, should I start watching again? And clearly, you win 15 out of 17. Yeah, I should start watching again. Does it make me change my television provider so that I actually have MSG on my TV? I like YouTube. So do I have to add to it just to watch hockey? I'm not quite there yet. Like, I'm not ready to financially commit, but I am, like, I know that they're going to play. I went 10 plus years of being surprised that the Sabres were playing because it's just not on my radar. I don't care. Now I know when their previous, I know what the score was of the last game. I know when they're playing their next game. I'm, tracking standings. That's a major step. I'm paying attention. They're on my radar. The next thing would be a financial commitment and then a time commitment. And the fact that I know that I won't make the full time commitment makes me not want to make the financial commitment. But I'm paying attention, and that's something. And before we get into the Bills, let's talk about your Giants. With all those openings, once Harbaugh became available, I think I asked you on Monday, like, doesn't it seem like that would be the best job and the best fit? And apparently the answer is yes, because that's what you're talking about with your Giants coming back to, at least in theory, relevance with a real head coach.
Right. Yeah. An experienced head coach that's going to walk into the building and demand respect right away. A leader of men, an organized guy who is going to hire and has a track record of hiring good quality assistants. And I'm excited about it because from everything I'm reading, the way he kind of approached it, Harbaugh, that is, kind of approached it is, yes, they're picking near the top of the draft, but if you really look and evaluate what's on the team, they're not that bad. And if you look back at the games this year, if you flip every one-score game, the Giants won 10 games this year. So I think as a coach, he's saying, all right, I have an early pick. I have a young quarterback on his rookie contract. I've got a decent assemblage of talent that needs it to be organized and needs some new faces in here and some new coaches in here to get this thing straightened out. And in those one-score games, if I can flip half of them, I'm already relevant. So, it became a very attractive place to play. And I think for the Harbaughs in general, they are a coaching old-school family. And I think a place like playing for a flagship organization, despite how crap they've been for the past, whatever, to 12, 13 years, that the New York Giants and saying you're the head coach of the New York Giants still means something, especially to, a group or a family that is so entrenched in football as the Harbaughs are. So, I think that was a big draw for them. And listen, credit to some of the people that reached out to Harbaugh to talk about them, about the Giants. The current assistants that are still technically on staff there called him up and spoke with him about, what the feeling of the team was, what the talent on the team was, what the actual situation on the ground was. And that includes him receiving a call from Brian Dable, which to me, I think speaks a lot for him, in the fact that, yes, he was fired, but he still made the call to Harbaugh to vouch not just for the Giants as an
but
organization.
for Shane, really, right?
For the Giants, for the organization, I'm not sure if he would, I don't know what that relationship is like since Shane is still there and he's not.
Yeah. But Dart maybe was what you're going to say.
I don't know, but certainly Dart.
Yeah.
But certainly Dart. You could tell that they have a very close relationship, and for him to, the predecessor, basically call and say, listen, it sucks that I got fired there, but I want to vouch for my boy. He's a good dude, and he can win. And I think that that's impressive for him, and I think that is something that helps kind of get you over the end line. And I know that maybe I'm exaggerating the fact that it's the New York Giants and it's New York. I'm sorry. There's something to being the head coach of the New York Giants when you are comparing it to being the head coach of the Cardinals or even the Jets. Some of these other right. So, they've won championships. They've won 4 titles. So it's not like it's an impossible thing. And the history of over 100 years is there. I think that became attractive to him, and certainly giving him $100 million doesn't hurt. I know that the number on that is big, but some of that cost I think is going to be deferred by the fact that he's still going to get paid from the Ravens. So at least for those first couple of seasons, I'm not sure how much of the $20 million per year is actually going to come from the Giants. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know how that all is going to be shaped out, because he still should be owed like $16-17 million a year for the Ravens. From the Ravens. Yeah. So I don't know how that works. And the other
you don't
interesting
have to write
thing
the check,
is,
so what's the difference, right?
Right. No, I don't care.
And it doesn't affect the cap, and they're the Giants,
right,
and it's the NFL, and they've got the money, and it'll be fine.
Yeah, they can afford it. I do think it's interesting on the other side of that equation. I don't know if you heard or saw any of the comments from the owner, Steve Biscotti.
I did not.
Of the Ravens. Very honest, refreshingly honest and open about the situation. He was asked, hey, if that field goal from Loop goes in and not out, are we still here having this conversation about John Harbaugh being fired? And he said, yeah, it would have been a week later.
Oh. Which
is very honest.
Wow.
Instead of just kind of throwing that off and saying, I don't know, it's a hypothetical. We're in the real world here. That didn't happen, unfortunately.
That's how I would answer it.
I don't know how I'm not sure, but it sounds like he thought there needed to be a change. Maybe the message within that room had grown stale, and that obviously I think that there was some behind the scenes thing where, their quarterback wasn't enamored with what was going on, and they had to make a decision, and they chose a guy that won the MVP twice at quarterback over the guy that's actually won a Super Bowl with Joe Flacco.
And that has made the team a consistent competitor.
Oh yeah. If you look at his records there,
yeah.
8-9, I think, is the worst record that he's had there. So,
but it's one of the 5 organizations over the last 20 years that is going to be respectable week in and week out, year in and year out. And so there's that, but there does come a time where you're like, you know what, let's change the flavor. Eventually things run their course. Tomlin's out in Pittsburgh, and he does so never having a losing season in 19 years, but also not having won a playoff game in 10 years and going 0-7 in his last 7 playoff games. So, they're reaching
a lot
a
of those
point.
Home too.
Right. Yeah. And, a lot of times they didn't have a great team. They were just kind of, oh, look at the Steelers are still here. I've written them off, in August, half of those seasons, and then they always have a winning record. So there's something to be said, and that's a reason he'll get hired again as soon as he wants to be, or he'll do TV for a while, because that's a easier, cushier gig where you might make more money. But that's one of those teams. Both of those teams, the Ravens and Steelers, are among the most consistent over the last 20 years, and a lot of that has to do with not changing head coaches. But eventually there just reaches a time you want a different flavor. I get it.
Yeah, and, listen, credit to Tomlin, because I was in attendance at a playoff game at the Ralph, watching Mason Rudolph lead the Steelers onto the field. And, at the time, I was freezing in the stands, but also just having a great deal of respect of watching the game, thinking, man, this guy drugged this team to the playoffs. This is crazy. And they're still hanging around in this game. It wasn't, they stretched it out at the end,
sure.
But they were around for a while, and there was a lot of that. After Big Ben, they still kept making the playoffs and having winning records, despite having absolutely no one at quarterback. No one.
All right.
So there's that.
All right, let's talk about a team that's still alive and is playing in Denver tomorrow, the first playoff game. The Bills, they're banged up, but so is everyone. I'm not too freaked out by the injuries, because I don't know. There's never been a point this season where I'm like, the reason the Bills are going to win today is because of their incredible depth at wide receiver. That's never been a thing. Now, losing 3 in the same day for the rest of the season is less than ideal. I had really high hopes for a Gabe Davis playoff resurgence, and obviously that's out the window. And Palmer's out, and Shavers has been important to the team, so they're patching it together. But I've watched all week as the injury report has gotten a little bit better. There's only a couple players that are listed as out, as far as those who are still in contention for a roster spot on Sunday. But I don't know. I can't get the image out of my head of Josh Allen's face on the screen and Bo Nix's face on the screen, and that seems okay to me, despite the fact that it's a 1 seed, it's on the road, they won a bunch of games, but they won a bunch of games like the game they won against the Giants, where I know the Bills use the second half. You get to do that. You get to use all 60 minutes, and they only keep track of the score that's on the board at the end. So if you win, you win. But I don't know, man. I've been less than 1 seed impressed with the Denver Broncos over the course of this season, and I trust my veteran coach and not that Peyton's not a veteran, but I trust the established franchise with the all-world quarterback over Bo Nix and the Broncos.
Yeah, I'm with you there. It feels right. We'll get to the game. It feels right now in my bones like this is meant to be Bills Patriots, Foxborough for the Super Bowl. That is just a guttural feeling and has absolutely nothing to do with the analysis of the game.
I agree completely. That's what it has felt like for a while. It feels in
my bones like that's what has to happen. It has to be the 2 AFC East teams. It has to be the resurgent Drake May, who is like, oh, is this the next guy to join the group? The new guy trying to get in, Josh trying to get over the hump and finally get into the Super Bowl, Diggs against the former team. The whole thing, being able to have another picture of Diggs watching on the sideline as his old team is showered in confetti, just like he had to sit there and watch Kansas City, would be glorious, especially considering the fact that they got an awfully friendly judge in Massachusetts to delay all of his court proceedings till after the Super Bowl.
And Barmore's too. Barmore's, I think, is the week leading into the Super Bowl, which in a perfect world, they'll be done by then. But just watching them out there on the field with no real mention of it is gross.
Right. But about this game, I'm totally with you. Bo Nix, and the way I said it for the Giants, if you do the same thought experiment of if every one of their the Broncos 1-score games goes the other way, they've got 5 wins this year.
Right. And now, I don't think they're a 5-win team, but I also don't think they're a 14-win team. So
no, and it reminds me of the Chiefs of last year.
Sure.
Where they just kept winning all of those games.
By 6, all by 6 and 4, yeah.
Right. Like, they're blocking field goals, 30-yard field goals with no time. Like, it was a ridiculous run. They have had a lot of that. One of those games being against the Giants, which is it's just a ridiculous score 30 points on a team in the NFL in like 10 minutes. It was not cool. It was not cool. It's not cool. So trust me, I'm definitely pulling for the Broncos to lose after having to deal with that. Bo Nix, against teams with a winning record that score more than 17 points in a game, 1-8.
Whoa.
So if you can score more than 2 touchdowns, you've got an excellent opportunity at beating Bo Nix. And I think that if you can keep him contained in the pocket, he is by no means a running threat like a Lamar Jackson or, I know that he sucks, but Kyler Murray can still scoot.
Right.
Or Josh. But a lot of his success and momentum and good feeling for Bo Nix comes from his ability to move around. If you can kind of keep him in the pocket and squeeze him a little bit and be sure that you're semi-solid against the running game so that they can't just lean on that and pass when they want to, I think you've got an excellent chance at beating Bo Nix and that offense. I just don't think that if you say we're going to put this all in the lap of him, that he's good enough to beat a team in the playoffs like this.
Yeah, and especially if the Bills can somehow hypnotize their opponent into thinking they need to abandon a running game early, as they did against Jacksonville and as they've done a few times this year. you watch the start of these games. It's like 6 yards, 8 yards, 14 yards, 12 yards, play action pass for 14. The Bills are down 7 right away. And then for some reason, by like late second quarter, teams tend to forget what their success was. And I don't know if it's, Josh Allen induced panic or what, but you've got to go in thinking we need 7, not 3. And I get why some decisions like that are made, but the abandonment of the running game is what helped them pull away against Jacksonville, or take care of things against Jacksonville. And we've seen it before. I don't understand it, to be honest. And we talked about getting to the outside. That's more of where the ground game works against the Bills. But use whatever magic you've used to hypnotize teams into forgetting about that, and you're in really good shape.
Right, and part of the reason, or part of the way that they've done that, is they've disguised their coverages really well. So they've been able to put some extra bodies into the box, making it look like the box is full to protect against the run. And I think that if they can get a good read on teams, it becomes real fun as a defense when something will trigger something else.
Right.
So if I put that 8th guy down in the box, it's going to trigger them to check to a pass. Boom. Gotcha. Now I'm backing out. I've disguised my coverage. Now you're throwing. And you're right. I text you about it all the time. Like, I don't understand it. There was a series, it might have been that first series that Jacksonville, or the second series Jacksonville had, the scoring drive, the first touchdown drive that they had. They had 3 10-plus yard runs in a row and then just never went back to it. It's the Mike McDaniel effect. It's the reason why I was never worried about the Bills playing the Dolphins, and we've talked about this. He has a need to show you he's the smartest guy in the room. And wisely, the Bills and their defensive staff have always allowed the Dolphins and played into that and let them come to the Bills. Listen, dude, I'm going to let you rip off 5 10-plus yard runs in a row. And guess what? I know you ain't going to do it because you're going to need to show me.
Right. This is boring.
You're smarter
this
than
is
me.
Boring. It's too easy.
Right. This is boring.
I've got to do it my smart way. Yep.
There's a lot of that going on. And I'll flip it around. Something that really annoys me in that same vein for the Bills.
Okay.
And that is, I understand how important and good Ty Johnson is on third down. And in some of those passing situations, he's an excellent blocker. James Cook either has to learn it or they got to deal with it, because he's taking James Cook out of the game, and him not being in for long stretches of the fourth quarter is annoying.
Especially when your wide receiver core is so depleted and honestly wasn't great to begin with. Yeah, this is a team, and the biggest strength of this Bills team to me is that despite having the best player in the league, that's not their primary focus. So it's like, we're a rushing football team. We've got the league's leading rusher. We've got this offensive line that's mauling people, and we've got Josh Allen on the back end of that. So that, to me, is their strength, and I'd like to see them lean into it. It's got to be Cook way more often. He's good in short yardage situations, too. That's what's weird is, from a fantasy football perspective, it's got to be frustrating for James Cook owners that he scores his touchdowns from 22 yards and out most of the time, because once they get in close, they're thinking about scheme and doing other things. And he's right. And Cook is very clearly your top offensive weapon aside from the quarterback. And yet every time he's off the field, it seems wrong to me. I like Ty Johnson. He's a little banged up. Maybe that helps limit it if he is able to get back in it. But he ain't Cook.
Right. Cook's off the field a lot in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And listen, I know sometimes the game dictates, we're passing more, blah, blah, blah. Still, okay, I need him on the field a little bit more in some of those big situations coming down the stretch. Even if I'm just going to swing him out into the flat, he's going to draw a lot of attention and should open up some other spaces.
Even if I'm going to split him wide, even if I'm going to run him on a wheel route, he is an absolute danger. If you're in a defensive meeting getting ready for the Bills, the first name that comes up, obviously, is Josh. But 1B is 100% James Cook. And every time you take him off the field, you're making you're depleting your arsenal.
Totally agree. But I think that if the defense can, again, kind of keep Nix in the pocket pay some respect to his mobility, especially earlier. If they can get some pressure in his face early on, I think he's going to get real skittish, and try to move around. And then if he can't, now he's just kind of moving around in the pocket and he can't do anything. He's not looking down the field. I think they can rattle him a little bit. And again, what the Broncos have done all year round is dealt with Bo Nix's inability to be consistent, and the defense keeps him in the game. And then they're able to do, one or two good drives in the fourth quarter and steal games. So keep in mind, it's got to be 60 full minutes. Even if you're up by, let's just say, spitballing 30 points in the fourth quarter, you're still not safe.
Yeah,
you're still not safe.
All right. There's a bunch of other NFL playoff football and also a college championship game that, although, you know what, I'm going to have you on Monday before the college championship game. Whatever.
Well, I'll say
you go where you want to go.
My weekly pick for this week is Indiana -8.5 against Miami. I'm just
matching Bob again. Last week you guys matched and they rolled, and this week you match, and I expect them to roll as well.
I respect the hell out of what Miami's been able to do in their defense, but they're standing on the tracks, and it feels like the train is coming through.
Is there anybody outside of Dade County that's rooting for the Hurricanes in this thing? Because it feels like the world is infatuated with the
Maybe
Signetti.
Purdue.
Maybe
Purdue fans.
Sure, but the world is infatuated with Signetti and the Hoosiers right now.
Yeah, it's a big time love affair, and I'm not going to go against him. I'm certainly not going to bet against him.
Unrequited, though, because it seems like he would hate all of us. Seems like he hates everyone. We all love Signetti, and he hates all of us.
And that's why I like him.
Yeah.
That's why I like him, because he does have, at a certain point, he does have a little bit of disdain. And so do I, and I like that a lot. I like that a lot. But, yeah, we can talk more about that game on Monday.
Okay. Other NFL playoff stuff, or we could touch on that college basketball thing.
Yeah. I've got stuff down here for both of them, and they're both fun.
All right, you're in charge.
I will say I only have one other NFL note here for the weekend that I think was an interesting stat. Sean McVay.
It's crazy.
Taking the Rams to Chicago. This is his 15th different team that he will be playing in 15 career playoff games.
That's so strange.
Isn't it? That's so odd.
I don't know what to do with it. Like, that's all I can come up with is like,
it
that's
doesn't
cool.
mean anything.
No.
But it's just so odd that, when you look at on the other side in the AFC, if you look at the last almost 30 years, it was Brady, Manning, Roethlisberger, basically every time, with Sanchez mixed in there for 2 years.
Yeah.
And then it became basically Josh, and the trio became Josh and Mahomes and
Burrow.
And Burrow.
And Lamar.
They're kind of the new three. But Lamar's never got. Well, yeah, Lamar got there once.
Okay, but you're talking about championship game.
I don't respect that. Yeah, I'm talking about like major games where they intersect, and to me, it's been Chiefs Burrow, Chiefs Bills more than Chiefs Ravens.
Right.
It's always been in there, and I there was another stat that I don't have it exactly in front of me, but I think that like this year in the championship game of the AFC, it'll be the first time in like 30 years or something like that where Brady, Roethlisberger, or Manning will not be,
or Mahomes
will not be in the championship game, which is astonishing. To think, how all of those roads just constantly intersected, no matter what else was happening. And now here you are on the other side in the NFC, and McVay has had himself a good team now for 7-8 years, and just never plays the same team twice.
It's so weird.
It's incredible.
Yeah. I'm trying to. McDermott, I think they got hired like within a week of each other, so they've been around the same amount of time. This will be McDermott's 16th playoff game. He's 8-7 in them, and I'm trying to find a way, but we just think about Josh is always eliminated by Mahomes. So that, like, it's the Chiefs and it's the Bengals and it's the Ravens for the most part. And then like a one-off, where you got the Dolphins here or you got the Broncos. This will be the second time in 2 years with them. But it just doesn't happen that way. And McVay has been to the Super Bowl twice. So 2 of those 15 teams are AFC teams, Patriots and Bengals. He obviously can't play his own team, the Rams. But there's only 2 NFC teams he hasn't played in a playoff game. And again, there's nothing to do with it. It's just so weird. And I'm glad you feel the same way. Like, it's worth talking about. I just don't know what to say about it. It's just crazy. It's weird.
Yeah, it means absolutely nothing about, as far as playing the Bears.
Right.
But it's just with I guess, we always talk about how, there's a lot of parity. But when you really actually boil it down, it's not. When the rubber meets the road in the playoffs, quite often it's the same cast of characters that we're used to seeing. And the fact that he just never runs into the same guy twice is crazy.
Okay.
You want to talk college basketball?
Yeah. I mean, no, but yeah.
Point shaving scandals.
Yeah. So this story broke yesterday, at least for me, at about 11 o'clock. It maybe had come out an hour or so earlier, but I stumbled across it at 11. I started clicking around. I'm looking. Honestly, I was looking because I thought I was going to find like Akron mentioned or Kent State mentioned or something. And
Kent
then
is mentioned.
I know that, but that's not what I was. I was pursuing things like that, like what's going on at BG, and then I saw the list of teams alphabetically, and Buffalo was like second. I was like, oh no! And I'm sitting here doing the show with the flag behind me, and I didn't feel great about it. Upon further review, I mean, my first take is, well, that helps explain the 4-win season when George Halkovich came in, and we're thinking, all right, all the reviews about him are good, and we knew they were young, but Jesus, man, after the success that the program had under Hurley and then really under Nate Oates and then a little bit under Jim Weitzel, it was like, did we lose all of the momentum? And yeah, we did, but they've got it back right now, and the guys who are accused of these things are not there anymore. So it honestly, on some level, made me feel a little bit better. The next thing I did was research. Does this affect programs? Like, is there going to be a problem here? And it seems like no. Because it's not like the school was in on it. They're not happy about this. It's not the coach. It's not the staff. It's not the AD. So this happened and helps explain part of why they were so bad a couple years ago and makes me feel better about how they are right now. So I hope I didn't just say all the stuff you were going to say. I can't imagine I did.
No, yeah. I mean, I know that there's UB in there, and, there's nothing really to say. The team was terrible that year. I think that this helps explain a little bit of that. Those players are no longer with the program. There's no evidence that anybody involved with the university or the program knew about it beforehand and did nothing. There's no signs that anybody has known about it afterwards and did nothing. So I'm not really sure, like, what happens if somebody finds out that I threw a spitball in 7th grade? As a 43-year-old guy, am I still getting detention? You know what I mean? Like, they can't punish these guys. So, there's nothing for them to do. I don't think any of this comes back. Again, unless somehow people come across evidence that somebody
knew
involved with the program knew and was like, yeah, whatever. And I find
there's
that
there's no way.
Yeah, no, there's no way. My thing about it is shocking that the people that were behind this thought that no one would notice.
$500,000 worth of bets on the first half of a Kent State game.
Yeah, and I wrote down the number amounts, and I want to get your reaction to them.
Okay.
Because I think that they're funny.
Okay.
That these people would not, and again, I don't have the exact what they bet on. Most of these were first half outcomes.
Yes.
Which, if you think about it, I think would be easier to talk a player into point shaving.
That's how I started my show today, saying exactly that. Of course, if I am slightly morally corrupt and I could use 20 grand or 30 grand or 50 grand, of course, who couldn't? And I still get to, all I got to do is turn the ball over a couple times. Don't trail by less than 3 in the first half and then come out in the second half and I can do whatever I want and try to make up for whatever mistakes I made. Like, I was probably going to do that anyway. I'm a college basketball player. I was probably going to have one really good half and one half. So if I just do that on purpose, yeah, all right, sure, I'll take your money. Like, I absolutely concede that's a really good way to corrupt a program or corrupt a kid.
Right. So here are some of the bets that they thought wouldn't be drawing.
Flag.
Again,
wouldn't be flagged.
Not just on the game. This is specific first half bets.
Okay.
$30,000 on St. Bonaventure LaSalle. And then they go to $50,000 for the Robert Morris Purdue Fort Worth first half.
Bobby Moe.
$256,000 on Northern Kentucky Robert Morris.
I'll be honest, I didn't know Northern Kentucky was a school. I didn't.
And that's why people took notice.
Yeah.
Because they probably didn't either. $424,000 on Kent State UB.
How much money do you think is typically bet in the world on the first half of Kent State UB? And then it can't be $424,000. It can't be $424,000, and it certainly wouldn't all be on the same side. Like, this is what legalized gambling does, is it brings all of this to light. It's all digitized, because I'm sure this isn't, if these are back alley, bookie deals, the numbers aren't all there for prosecutors to look at and go, wait a minute, what the hell is this?
But you dealt with this more than me. Even back in the days of bookies and back alley type of situations, if you showed up to your bookie and said, I'm putting $424 on Kent State UB first half.
He says, why?
Would they not be like, no, you're not. Not with me, you're not.
Right.
Now imagine if you showed up with a briefcase of $424,000 to your bookie and saying, first half -8, Kent. He would say, get out of my driveway now. No. But you're doing it all digitally, like, with people that are paying attention.
Right. With your account and like your social security number attached to it.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think people understand how hard it is to get down a large bet in Vegas if you don't typically do that. Like, I've not personally been through it, but a friend of mine was he just had a hunch, a very strong hunch. It was, research based and all that. But on a game, and he went to Vegas specifically because he wanted to lay down, I don't even know what it was, in excess of $20,000, but it's like 25 grand, something like that. And he had to go sports book to sports book. Like, I'd like to bet 10 grand. Like, no. All right, I'd like to bet 5 grand. And this is on like a major college football game. I'd like to bet 5 grand. They're like, okay, I can give you, how about this? I'll give you 3 grand at this number, but then the number's going to move, and then I'll give you 2 grand at that number. And the second he did that, other sports books are notified that this large bet just came in on this. And this is prevalence of internet gambling. So now you're at the Wynn, and you try to go to the Bellagio, and the Bellagio's like, oh, you're the guy they told me about from the Wynn. Like, they were tracking it before you could track it. And it's very difficult to do. If you're a known large-scale bettor, they'll take your bet, but they are not there to be your sucker. And they don't know what the hell's going on when a guy they've never met shows up and wants to put $10,000 on a game. They don't accept it. They don't take that. So everything you're saying is true, and it with like the secret black market bookies, but also with Vegas, you can't just do what you want. Yeah, and I remember one of those instances that you're talking about. I remember you called me, and I picked up and I said, "Hey," and you go, "Just real quick, do you like Baylor against Oklahoma this week?" All right, they're going to win by more than 3.5, and I go, "Yes, yeah, I do." And you go, "Okay, I'll call you back." And then a couple minutes later, you're like, "All right, no, my buddy, I just wanted to double check. I felt good about it too, but I know you watch." And I'm like, "Yeah." Okay. And it worked. It worked, by the way. It worked. Yeah. I don't know that he got down all of what he wanted. Like, if he wanted to get down 25, maybe he got down 17 or something like that. But it took like 7 different sports books. It took traveling and Vegas, everything looks closer than it is. But that's a full day's work to get to 7 different sports books in time for an evening kickoff or whatever it was that he did. So, but it's hard. And if you think you're smarter than digital records of the moves you're making, you're not. And also, from this story, I would say, don't text pictures of a bag of $100,000 on the front seat of your car as you're driving somewhere to pay it off, because that's bad too. Everything we do is, if not monitored, monitorable. So keep that in mind as you navigate life in the 21st century.
My favorite bet was $458,000 on Towson, North Carolina A&T. I mean, that's $500,000.
Yeah. On
Towson State, North Carolina A&T. I pay attention to this stuff. I didn't even know North Carolina A&T was a thing.
No.
So, yeah. They were doing it. The other thing from that story that I loved was, like you said, with the pictures and stuff, and with text messaging now, if you any type of acknowledgement, any electronic means, and you're toast. And my favorite text coming out of this was one guy texting to the other guy in regards to a $168,300 bet on the Guangdong Tigers. Okay, $168,300 on the Guangdong Tigers. Okay, the quote is, "Nothing guaranteed but death, taxes, and Chinese basketball." And apparently, along with college basketball, there was extensive point shaving by Chinese basketball players in their pro league. And it's been fun to see, on Twitter, the story always brings out people commenting that are clearly degenerates. And there's a lot of comments under that one, that part of the story that I saw that were like, yeah, anybody knows that if they watch the Jimmer Fredette era of Guangdong basketball. And it's like, oh my God, this whole thing is just happening. And we had no idea. And I wish I could have, how many times were we on the road that we could have been coming back at 11 o'clock at night,
betting Chinese basketball,
flip on a Guangdong Shenzhen Tigers basketball game, and just been raking in cash. It would have been amazing.
Well, that's what's frustrating. That's what's frustrating is, how do I get on the text thread? I don't want the one where you get indicted. I just want the one where there's, maybe there's a Reddit or a subreddit for this, but the one where you get to find out that information. Because I was talking, I don't even remember who I was texting with yesterday.
Throw $100, all right, let's say Towson, North Carolina A&T.
Right.
I'd throw $100 on that.
Yes.
I'd love to do that.
Right.
Well, what would I make? Get 250?
Depends. I don't know what the line is, but it's I texted with somebody about the UB part of it, and whoever it was, are you in on this? No, I'm not. I wish I was in on it. I'm not in on it, but I wish I knew about it, because I could have, although it's difficult to place. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Placing bets, you can't place a bet on
can't do it in New York.
New York State college thing. You can bet on other stuff. So I wouldn't have been in on the UB part. But again, what do you do with that information? Go to a local bookie? And then he's like, "Don't you work at UB?" I'm like, yeah. How do you even pull? You're picking them to lose? No, not to lose, just to be down in the first half. Why? I don't know. How do you get away with it? It's just, you don't, I guess, is the answer here. And that's why all these people are indicted and that whole thing. All right. Anything else, Scott, before we let you go?
Well, I do want to throw in here, and I know that there's where I live, I just got 6 inches of snow overnight. So this feels like it's a long way away.
School open or closed today?
It is closed.
Oh, were you closed yesterday too?
No.
Okay, so we just passed it on to you. They closed us yesterday for no reason, and today is the exact same day again. But we're open.
We're a long way away from it, but in baseball, the Dodgers just signed Kyle Tucker,
Yeah.
right fielder, to a 4-year, $240 million contract. They now have, the Dodgers, $2.1 billion worth of guaranteed salary
It's a lot.
on there.
They're very
And
good.
We mentioned it at the end of the last baseball season. They're leaning heavy into it, and there's going to be a cap. The more the Dodgers do this, the more they're going to get the other big market teams to throw down and say, all right, now we're willing to go for a cap. And there's going to be a work stoppage, all because the Dodgers can't control themselves. I mean, Kyle Tucker's a nice player, but what the hell?
Yeah.
They now have eight or more $100 million contracts on their roster to the Dodgers. Kyle Tucker's contract plus Ohtani's, that's more than 10 Major League Baseball payrolls. So those two players alone are more than 10 payrolls. I mean, it's ridiculous.
That said, would you
I
rather
guess
have Ohtani and Tucker or the Pirates? Well, they got Skeens at least, but not for long. I mean, when's his contract up? When's he going to be a Dodger or a Yankee?
He's probably
or a
got
Red Sox?
4 more years, 3 or 4 more years until he's official. He's been in the league 2 years, won Rookie of the Year and a Cy Young. So I think you have to have 6 years of Major League service before you become an unrestricted free agent. So I think he's probably got 2 more seasons until arbitration, and then after that, he's got 2 more seasons after that, which is those last 2 seasons are usually when the Pirates are cashing out or cashing in, depending on how you look at it.
Right.
But does that change if there becomes a salary cap? Does it then become manageable for those organizations to keep players? I don't know. I don't know what that looks like, but I know that when one organization is buying all the players, it's going to force, if you look at it, if you go back from the last types of rounds of conversations about this, the players were against the salary cap, but also the Yankees and the Red Sox and the Cubs and the Dodgers, even the previous iteration of ownership of the Dodgers, they've all been in agreement with the players because they've been able to go out there and do this. Well, now that there's just one team shutting out everybody else, I think that starts to change the tide and get some of those other bigger market teams now on board saying, all right, let's go to a cap because this is ridiculous. You're even seeing the Yankees. They've only brought in one player in free agency that wasn't already on the roster this year. And they're still talking with Bellinger, but it's clear that through the rumor mill, what we heard coming into the offseason was true, that the Yankees have kind of set a boundary at whatever the luxury tax line is, which is, I think it's 305, 309, something like that, and that they are not going to go above it. That to me is a bigger sign pointing that we're going to be going towards that direction as far as work stoppage and salary cap as well, because it feels like the Yankees are already setting themselves up in position so that if that comes into play, they're already going to be in line with it.
Compliant,
and
yeah.
The Dodgers seem to be taking the opposite approach of, there might be rules soon. I'm just going to throw it all in now while I can.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm looking at them right now. They've got, 15 players making $11 million a year or more. It's Ohtani's 70. This is average.
They just signed what's his name from the Mets, the closer.
Yeah, Edwin Diaz. He's on this list too. So, yeah, and I think he comes with Timmy Trumpet. You get him for free, so maybe you can split that.
I think that's a throw-in, yeah.
But average annual value: Ohtani 70, Betts 30. Yamamoto's 27. Tucker comes in at 60 now. These are not in order, obviously. Blake Snell, 36. Freddie Freeman, 27. Will Smith, 14. Tyler Glasnow, 27. Tommy Edman, 15. Tanner Scott. Who's Tanner Scott? $18 million a year. Edwin Diaz, 23. Teoscar Hernandez, 23. Max Muncy, that funky Muncy, 12. Blake Trinan, who I love, but 11. And then it drops down to 4. There are 7 guys currently under contract for the Dodgers, according to Spotrac, that make less than $11 million a year. 7 on the list. And they're at, this poor Andy Abanya is only making 1.2. Pathetic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 6 guys that are
He's basically homeless.
Sorry, 7 guys. Right. 7 guys that are under $11 million a year. It's crazy talk. I mean, I don't know. It's if the world of baseball took a 0 off of every contract, it would still be crazy to me. You know, if instead of a $700,000 deal, Ohtani signed a $700 million deal, maybe he signed a $70 million deal. That's still just a ton. Now, he's the best, and I get why he makes more than everybody else because he's 2 players in one. But good God, man, it's out of control. So, yeah, and how do you stop it without a stoppage? Because you can't just say, all right, we have a cap now. Dodgers, fix it. Like, how do you fix it? How do you fix it with guaranteed money? I don't know. I don't know. It's gross.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult situation, but I mean, Kyle Tucker. Did you ever think that?
No, I never thought of Kyle Tucker ever.
Right. I mean, he's a good right fielder. He's a decent hitter, but I've never, like the Mets offered him $50 million a year. Like, what are we talking about? It's Kyle Tucker. It reminds me a little bit of basketball. How even though they've got like a quasi cap there too, where there's penalties for going over stuff like that. But when you're seeing some of these random guys in the offseason, you're like, wait, he got a 2-year deal worth $20 million a season.
Right.
Guy scores 8 points a game with 5 rebounds.
Yeah.
What the hell, like
he's a ninth man.
Wells is getting $20 million a season. You're like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, it's crazy.
He's a nice player, but let's get real. I think that there's in that football. I think is a good example of all those guys. All the top guys are making massive amounts of money, even with the cap. Where everybody seems to be happy and they all seem to be profitable. None of those quarterbacks are looking for more money. They all seem to be pretty satisfied. So, I feel like you could take that argument to the players' union and be like, listen, no one's going to be, searching for cash. Everybody's still going to get it, and it's still going to work all fine. But we can't have one team going out here just willing to pay $70 million a year to Kyle Tucker. Like, they should call the cap. If baseball gets a cap, it shouldn't be called the salary cap. It should be called the Kyle Tucker rule. Because it's like, why do you guys have a rule about how much money each team can spend? And the answer to that would be, everybody else finally saw that Kyle Tucker is getting paid $60 million, and everybody agrees we can't be paying Kyle Tucker $60 million. We just can't be doing it.
And he's a good player. And everybody likes him. But
nice player.
The contract's stupid.
That is a $25 million a year player, right?
I would think.
If you heard that he got a $25 million, you'd be like, yeah, all right, he's won a
normal
World Series. He can be a good leader. He's a good hitter, consistent outfielder. Like, yeah, that makes sense. $60 million?
Did he have a great year with the Cubs? I don't even know what he did with the Cubs. I paid no attention to the Cubs.
He did have a pretty good year with the Cubs.
All right, I have to look him up. Kyle Tucker.
He was good with the Astros.
Obviously, he was good with the Astros, but he spent last season with the Cubs, and now he's, this is crazy. Let's see. His career, he's a .273 batting average. All right, 2025.
Which in today's baseball feels like it's 340.
Yeah, 2025, he hit .266. He drove in 73, stole 25 bases, on-base percentage of .377. That's a player. That's a major league, a slightly above average major league baseball player.
Yeah.
That's fine. No knock on Tucker. He's a former first-round pick, 5th overall. And like you said, he was really good for Houston. He had a decent season with the Cubs. But, yeah, that's nuts. All right. Is there anything else that needs to be addressed right now? Let me look at what I have written down, see if there's anything that was for you. There's a chocolate recall by the FDA that I haven't looked into. What was Kiefer Sutherland arrested for? Do you know that story?
I don't.
All right.
Prostitution?
Let's learn that together. Kiefer Sutherland arrest.
I know that there was an arrest of not Pesci, but the other guy in the other half of the bad guys in Home Alone.
Daniel Stern.
Daniel Stern was just arrested for prostitution recently, and I noticed that because
How much was he getting?
the caption was, "Oh dang, the wet bandits are back."
How much is he getting as a prostitute? Does that pay well for him?
No, I think he was trying to buy.
Oh, soliciting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know that story, but I do now know the Kiefer Sutherland story from.
Listen, I would love to find out that Daniel Stern is on OnlyFans.
That would be good.
That'd be amazing.
As the wet bandit.
As the wet bandit.
As the.
Thank you, African Rose.
As the Cubs assistant coach who gets locked in the locker room in Rookie of the Year. He's like he does everything in a Cubs uniform, and you can rent him. He's the gigolo Daniel Stern through OnlyFans.
Home Alone 2, he was actually a sticky bandit, so I guess that could work.
Okay, I don't remember that. All right, Kiefer Sutherland from. There are only a couple news sources we completely trust, and TMZ is one of them. Kiefer Sutherland arrested for allegedly telling Uber driver, pull over or I'll kill you. This is Jack Bauer.
Yeah, I was just going to say, dude, you ever seen 24? Yeah? Pull over or I'll kill you.
Immediately. Clock is ticking. Kiefer Sutherland was arrested for allegedly threatening an Uber driver who refused to pull over and let him out of the vehicle. Law enforcement sources tell TMZ Kiefer told police he was having dinner with a friend Sunday night. Late in the evening, he called for an Uber Black. The driver arrived. Kiefer jumped in, and they were on their way to Kiefer's home. For some reason, during the drive, Kiefer told the driver to pull over and let him out. Kiefer told cops the driver refused. Kiefer twice more asked the driver to pull over, to no avail. At some point, according to the Uber driver, Kiefer threatened to kill him if he didn't pull over. The driver, who called 911, claims Kiefer assaulted the driver with his hands. As for what dispute triggered the confrontation, it could be a language barrier. Our law enforcement sources say when cops arrived, the Uber driver, who spoke Russian or Armenian, requested a translator. LAPD then called someone who spoke his language. We're told the driver never alleged an injury, but Kiefer was arrested for a felony, making a criminal threat. He was released on $50,000 bail. I got to say, if you need a translator to talk to the cops, I can't trust you as a reliable source of information for what the other guy said.
Right. And if I'm in a car or a taxi like that and I want to get out, like it's not a roller coaster. You can pull over and let me out. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like I have to stay in until the end of the ride no matter what. I'm in charge of the ride. I'm paying for it. I don't want it anymore. Let me out.
Mm-hmm.
What is he supposed to do? I sympathize with Kiefer Sutherland here, and I'm with you. If this guy, I like that it's even now. It's the story is Russian or Armenian. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like the source is. I don't know, man. He was spitting some type of Eastern European garbage out there.
He wasn't talking American, I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You know what he wasn't speaking? He's not speaking anything because I made a call to ICE. And he's on a trip to El Salvador as we speak for messing with Jack Bauer. I have a hard time. Like, how does he, if he doesn't speak English and there's a language barrier, how does he know that Kiefer Sutherland was saying that?
Right. Exactly. Pull over, man. Pull over. I don't know what he was saying.
Like, unless he's got some type of camera in the car that can verify it, I don't see how any of this, you know what I mean? Like, I don't see how any of this could back it up. But even then, if the camera is going to show, like, hey, I want to get out of, like, let's say you're in a car and you think the driver's drunk,
right?
And you ask them to pull over, and they won't. What do you do?
Or they're just
eventually you say pull over. There's going to be a problem.
Yeah, or they're just a really bad driver.
Right.
And you're like, I'm not comfortable. I'll get another one. Just let me out. And I'm sure, like, part of me initially reading the story thought the issue is with, all right, if I'm an Uber driver and I get paid for the thing, if I don't deliver you to the location, do I actually get paid for my thing? But I would think yes. Even honestly, let him out and then still drive to the location and then get paid, if that's how it works. I don't know how it works, but I'm sure GPS is involved.
I could be wrong about this, but if you order the Uber and the car driver acknowledges it and accepts it, that if the rider then cancels the ride, he's still due the money because he's done it, right?
I'm not sure, but I
think that's probably how it goes. And I would sympathize with the Uber driver if the person was a regular person who you thought like, oh, maybe they're trying to skate on the bill. You know, maybe it's a $50 thing.
It's Jack Bauer.
They get halfway home, and I know my buddy's down the block, drop me off here, and I'll only pay $20. But it's Jack Bauer. Yeah. He's good for the money.
Yeah. Weren't you in the Lost Boys? Yeah, just let me out. Are you a vampire? Right. Let me out of the car. And also, thinking about it, like if in fact the problem does have to do with the money, we've done this many times, driving home from a bar or restaurant or whatever back to a hotel in, let's use Kalamazoo as the example. And it's like, hey, could you stop at that gas station? They sell red wine in there. And, like Paul Peck will want to do that at 11:30 at night. Like, all right, Paul, whatever with your red wine. And then, so we'll stop and then we'll continue. And they'll charge us any extra.
I know the Sunoco has good Merlot. Can they stop there?
Right. But the car and the phone and the app wouldn't know if Paul got out of the car and then didn't get back in, but I just drove to the location. It seems like this could all be solved if tracking of the trip is the problem and that's the reason he doesn't want to let him out of the car. It seems like it could all be solved by, okay, get out, and then I'm going to continue to the place, and then I'll still get paid, and you won't be in the car yelling at me or threatening me in a language that I don't really understand. It's all very solvable.
It seems dangerous for a star of semi-notoriety here in Kiefer Sutherland. I'm not going to make him seem like he's an uber top of the list, A-list, but he's a very well-known actor. To let somebody like this know where you live, like unless it's, for us, when we go on the road, we're just going back to the hotel.
Right.
Like if he's saying, drop me back off at the Beverly Hilton, that's one thing, but it sounds like he was going home. So now some like Russian/Armenian guy knows where he lives. I wouldn't be comfortable doing that.
It does seem like a problem for all level of celebrity,
right? Yeah,
we're letting basically unvetted people drive us around and telling them where we live. You're right.
This is not a professional car service.
Right. We never go to our houses. We go to the hotel. And that's easy. Like, I don't live there. You're not learning anything about me. You're learning where I'm staying.
I don't care that I'm here.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it's a good point. All right, that's all. Oh, wait, what else is on my sheet? Mike McCarthy interviewing with the Titans. Who cares? Sabres. Oh, do you have a Ring doorbell?
I don't.
Okay, so we got one for Christmas, and we're on the premium plan, at least for 8 more days. And then we have to decide if we want it or not. It still operates, but you can go back and see what happened in the history of your driveway. And each time there's an AI element involved, and each time it's giving me a caption. My previous favorite caption was, "There's a child walking up the driveway with a baseball bat." And it sounded very intimidating, but it's a 9-year-old with a wiffle ball bat, and it's fine. My new favorite was this morning, as my son was leaving for school, it sent me a message that said, "A person is lifting their leg on the porch."
Ooh.
I watched the video. He didn't do anything. He was just he bent down to pick something up. But lifting their leg on the porch sounded like peeing like a dog on your porch. And a person sounds like a stranger. But really, it's just your 9-year-old is going to school. That's my new favorite quote from that thing. And that's all I have written down that I needed to talk about. I am curious about the FDA recalling chocolate, but not so curious that we need to do that right now.
Okay.
You want me to look it up? I'm going to look it up. Spring and Mulberry recalls chocolate bars due to salmonella concerns. FDA expands chocolate recall to 8 products nationwide over salmonella fears. That is not something I ever fear with chocolate. Salmonella to me is it's a pork-borne disease in my head. I don't know that that's right, but cutting
Isn't
up
salmonella chicken?
Chicken, pork, raw meat remains. You use a cutting board, and then there's stuff on it. You got to really scrub it to make sure it goes away. That's how I picture it. I don't know. I could look it up if you want. Nationwide recall of Spring and Mulberry date sweetened chocolate. I'm already out of this because I've never heard of Spring and Mulberry, and I wouldn't buy something called date sweetened chocolate. Has expanded to 8 products. Let's see if there's anything we know. Spring and Mulberry's mint leaf flavor. It now also includes Earl Grey, lavender rose. Yeah, we're fine. Mango chili.
And salmonella.
Chocolate, yeah. Mixed berry and salmonella. Mulberry fennel and salmonella. Pecan date and salmonella. And pure dark minis and salmonella. Yeah, this doesn't even matter. It can be difficult to detect and may appear intermittently. We're now expanding the recall beyond mint leaf in consultation with the FDA. This story is not especially interesting. I had to click on it.
You'd think that it would be something like the mulberry pulled pork drops, chocolate pulled pork drops. Which, by the way,
not terrible.
I could probably be talked into trying.
I could be talked into a chocolate sauce, a chocolate sauce on a pulled pork sandwich. I could be talked into that.
Well, yeah. Well,
is it that much crazier?
How many pulled pork with chocolate sandwiches do you think you get down in say 5 minutes?
One. The whole thing.
Don't do this. Don't do this.
Don't do this to me. I was thinking the same exact thing. We can't turn everything. Every time food is mentioned, it doesn't mean I'm gonna eat all of it. That doesn't sound like something I could be talked into one. I didn't say I could be talked into a contest.
Would you be willing to eat these chocolates to see if you could get salmonella? How many do you think you could get before you get a batch of salmonella?
Like a Russian roulette salmonella chocolate challenge?
Yes.
That I would do. I would do that. Unfortunately, this outbreak will probably be over by the time we go on the road in the fall for UB football, so I don't think I'm going to have to be taken up on this. But, yeah, something like this pops up. I kind of don't fear it.
Which is why it's great.
Yeah, I would do that.
You have no fear.
Like, this stuff is being recalled. I found it in a dumpster.
I wish that we had been at this point and Mad Cow had come around. Because I think we could have done some fun things with mad cow disease and you.
Oh, there's going to be another one. It'll happen. Just watch for it in season.
Trust me, it certainly feels like something is coming.
Yeah, we'll be there. I'm there.
Things aren't exactly going smoothly around the world.
That's a good point. Okay, yeah, I'm done. I was just about to say I finally watched a breakdown of the Minneapolis video. And I have thoughts, but I don't feel like doing that right now. Let's end on salmonella and chocolate instead of murder of American citizens. Let's not do that today. Let's not end the week on murder.
Yeah, Colonel Lockjaw there. He's having a bad day.
Did you watch it again?
The video?
No. The movie.
I have not watched the movie.
One battle after another. Yeah. I recommend watching it twice, and you will. You'll do it eventually.
I will. It's on HBO all the time, and I'm sure that I'll happen across it.
All right. Good enough. All right. Thanks, man. We'll talk to you Monday.
Okay. See you.
Right. There goes Scott Wilson. Say goodbye to our good friend, Scott Wilson. He's our senior football correspondent, our senior Hallmark correspondent, and the most frequent contributor to the show because he's putting in, out of my roughly 10 hours a week that I do, 2 of them are with Scott. It's great. Love it. We're done for today. Go Bills. Go Sabres, too. Go Bills and kind of go Patriots, right? We want that. I want the Bills to go to New England for the AFC Championship game. Be careful what you wish for. Well, okay. I know I have no impact on the game, but it's what I want to see. You know why I want to see it? Because I took a screenshot of a picture of a New England Patriots AFC East Champions t-shirt, and I want the game to end, and I want to send that picture to our good friend and senior Boston correspondent, Mike O'Brien, as a not-so-subtle middle finger to him. He's fun. We joke with him, but I don't like when he calls the Bills cute. So I would like to call the Patriots cute by sending a picture of an AFC East Champions t-shirt to him as he's, crying in his Sam Adams. And I'm going to send it when the Patriots lose. But the Bills have to survive them. So it would work if the Bills win and the Texans win. I could send the picture of the shirt. But I want to wait for Bills win, Patriots win, Bills win, picture of t-shirt as the Bills are getting ready for the Super Bowl 2 weeks later. That's the ideal scenario. All right, I'm done for today. Thank you for listening, watching. Go buy tickets, thecasbuffalo.com. Brain Vault coming your way. The premiere or debut. I don't know if we're going to call them episodes. I mean, eventually we will, because there are video cameras that are going to allow us to make this into a TV show / YouTube show. And that's a big part of what we're doing. The first one will not, I don't think that the first one will be available. Certainly won't be live streamed. But my thought is I'm going to take the video from the 7 cameras and edit together like promotional materials for the show to encourage other people to go. But I want you to come to the first one. I'm very excited about it. It's what I've been putting a ton of my time into, and sort of the brain power, the little brain power I have has been poured into that. There's a lot of prep going on. It's going to be super cool. We'll reveal more about it, but go get tickets now. They're available at thecasbuffalo.com. January 27th, Brain Vault debut. All right, that's it for today, for the week. Go Bills. We'll talk to you on Monday about the Bills heading to the AFC Championship game. That's the goal. That's what we're looking for. And hopefully another Sabres win mixed in as they're in action tomorrow at 12:30. Perfect little pregame entertainment for you as you're pacing, waiting for football to start. All right. Thank you. Bye.
What are you doing for lunch?
I don't know. I have a turkey sandwich.
We're gonna go around the corner. I think you should come with us. This is a great place.
I don't know. Okay.
We brought you a shirt.
You get out of here? Will you get out of here? Will you? Now, will you go to lunch? Go to lunch. Will you go to lunch?